Hi, okay, so I recently purchased a Tentbox Lite and I thought I'd just do a quick video just to show essentially sort of how it's received, what you get in the box, etc. and some sort of little bit of advice in relation to the packaging. So, okay, so if I turn the camera around, so essentially this is the Tentbox Lite. It comes in obviously that big box. You get all these bits that are on the floor there, the ladders which you can see here, and then obviously over here the main Tentbox unit itself. So this is the one that sort of folds out with a kind of canvas upper piece to it. The actual unit here is quite sizable. It's 140 centimeters to the top from that way, and then 120 centimeters going that way. So it is quite big. I'd say, I don't know what the width is there, but it's approximately 25 to maybe 30 sort of centimeters, something like that. So in the box, like I say, you get that. There's some the ladders. There's some fitting bits and pieces. Some small bag there, which I don't really know quite what it is to do with, but some spanners, a repair kit, some other sort of brackets, bolts, etc., to fix it to the roof bars, the poles to hold up the outer sort of covers, your shoe bag, so you don't have to have muddy shoes inside the tent, and then the main sort of outer cover that goes on when you're traveling and sort of transporting it. So that's all pretty straightforward. The one thing I did just want to point out though, and maybe a good note for Tentbox themselves here. So the box itself is pretty sturdy. It's, you know, a decent sort of thick cardboard, a bit like a bike box. My only real complaint about it is the sort of level of packaging that comes in it. So if we just sort of look in here, essentially all you get around the edges are these sort of 15mm thick, sort of fairly squidgy foam protection, sort of an even thinner sort of piece, which is nothing more than really kind of like a dust cover, which, given the size and weight of the actual unit, it doesn't really, to me, doesn't really provide sufficient protection for when in transit. It does clearly say on the box, obviously extremely fragile. However, it seems, you know, the box looks pretty intact, but it seems that even with any small amount of sort of manhandling, you know, you can potentially damage it. And just to sort of show this in a little bit more detail, so obviously this is the one of the foam inserts, which was on the sort of the bottom section of this, and you can see if I sort of line it back up with how it would have sat rather in the actual box, although it covers it at the sort of lower end. At this end, you can see actually it hasn't covered the full box. Now, I don't necessarily believe that even if it had done, it would have necessarily fully protected it properly anyhow. But what unfortunately has happened to mine as I received it is it has meant that, hopefully you can see this, that the channel here has then obviously sort of crushed towards the end, where obviously the weight of this has sort of been put on the ground. Like I say, there's not a huge amount of, or isn't really hardly any damage to the box. There's a slight amount of deformation to the cardboard, but nothing that, you know, if you had received it and, like I say, I checked the box over when I did get it, that you were kind of go, well, the box is damaged, I don't want to sort of accept delivery of that. So just something to sort of note in relation to it. If you do get a box that is or does have sort of some damage to it, that's at least more noticeable on the outside, I'd say there's a highly good chance that the contents is going to be damaged as well, which is a shame, because so far everything else looks very good. The only other thing I would say is in sort of Tentbox's defence, I sort of took pictures, contacted them. They were very good, very quick in coming back, very apologetic. Have given me a number of sort of different options as to sort of how to, you know, how I can resolve this. One of them being, you know, replacements, etc. But what they have done is sort of advised around trying to, you know, what I could do to potentially straighten this out, and offering a partial refund to sort of, as you know, a goodwill gesture and some, you know, sort of compensation in relation to it. So I have tried already trying to sort of straighten this out. It isn't, you know, hasn't been the most easiest of tasks, but you can see obviously where it had sort of crushed even further, that it's taken the paint off in that top little corner there. I'm not sure if you can see that, but I'm going to have another go at trying to sort of straighten that out a little bit further. Obviously I don't want to go levering it too much and then doing either sort of further damage to the tent or whatever. So so hopefully if I can sort of get that in a good position, then I shall, I think, accept Tentbox's gesture of a partial refund, which I think is very, very good of them. The one other sort of thing actually that's possibly worth noting at this moment. So on the sort of videos or YouTube that you get of the installation of these, I think it shows an earlier model, because these bars, which is what you use to then fix it to your roof rack or the vehicle, on the earlier version, I think these came as separate and you had to bolt them onto the unit yourself. And in this scenario, these have come pre-fitted or pre-mounted. Doesn't seem like a major issue, but for sort of my application, because I've got existing roof bars on the vehicle, I had hoped that I could, as it sort of suggests in the other vehicle, in the other video, you can move these or position them along this way, which would have then allowed me to, I think, potentially sort of been able to just install it straight onto the roof bars, bolt it onto that without the need for a roof rack. Unfortunately, as you can see now here, I have had to go out and purchase an additional roof rack. Not a major issue, because I dare say it'll probably come in useful for other things, but yeah, it's just, another little expense, another little pain in the neck in relation to it. But so far, other than that, everything looks good. Yeah, I'm gonna have another crack at that and then see how we go. Okay, so I've had another bit of a go at trying to sort out the damage to that channel. I've actually decided that well, I couldn't really move it anymore. I didn't want to sort of try forcing it any further because basically of one of these corner edge, this corner edge here. It's very difficult to get the sort of the appropriate kind of leverage in the right area on there. So basically I can get the cover channel, which I'll show you in a moment, into that piece there, and I think that's at the moment, from what I can tell, that's all this is really sort of needed for. So so I decided to leave it as it is. I'm going to try and see if I can get the roof bars fitted, and then in the actual cover itself, you can see you get this, try and hold the camera correctly, basically there's you can see here, this is what the sort of channel that will go into here, and then when you put the actual cover over the whole lot, that obviously velcros down, and then there are these additional straps as well, which will then go over the whole cover as well. So obviously, once the velcro pieces in those channels, you won't be able to, with those in situ as they are now, you won't be able to get it all the way through. So so I'm going to fit the roof bars, put those channel bits in, and then turn it around and put the actual cover on, just to sort of see what it's like and what the fitment with the cover is, etc., and how that all works. So at the moment, I'm just going to sort of loosely put the roof bars on there. I've measured, it's going on a Ford Ranger pickup double cab, so I've estimated, well, not estimated, I took a measurement and I was sort of guessing that 80 centimeters is approximately about looks to be sort of from the the amount of width I've got on the bars, about the sort of right spacing for the actual roof bars there. So I'm going to start with 80, offer it up, and then obviously sort of I can start making some fine tuning and bits and changes when it's actually in situ. So okay, so I'm going to get on with that and then see where we go from there. Okay, so in the fitting kit, when you open it up, you get these 4 brackets, which I believe will go sort of clamp across there. A series of nuts, which presumably will run into these channels, I think probably with these plates. They look just like end cap covers to go on the ends of these once you've run the brackets in there. And then a little selection. You've got a 10mm, a 13mm spanner, which looks to have one with a ratchet, which looks quite nice, and then a small Allen key, sort of probably a 5mm Allen key. Okay, so these little brackets, so like I say, these will slide inside this piece here, and then you've got these bolts which will go through. Now if you can sort of look the way it's shaped, so the sort of larger indent along here, basically that I think is, if I slide the bolt through, so that allows the bolt to go through like that. So once it's in the channel, obviously you don't need to hold this side of it. So if I put it in there and slide it through, so the bolt sort of sits in, you can just bolt straight to it without having to put a spanner on the other side. So obviously I need one on that side, one on that side. So at least for on this side, I now have these sliders and the bolts in situ on both sides. These are the brackets then that will clamp it to the actual roof bar, and there's a nice sort of hard foam insert there, so that once it's in, it's not going to actually sort of damage your actual roof bar. And fortunately it's sort of wide enough that if you've got these sort of aero style bars, it will, if you can see there, it will sort of obviously cover the whole piece. So there shouldn't be any reason why, once that's bolted down, that it's going to apply any sort of damage to the roof rack. The only other thing I would say is, I haven't noticed, so although you've got these nylock sort of bolts, obviously, so they're not going to come undone, the actual size of the hole on here is, there's a fair bit of play there, which makes it easy to get on, but I wouldn't personally just bolt straight to that. For me, I think there should be a washer essentially that you put on there it looks like sort of about I guess probably an M8 bolt. So there should be sort of an M8 washer, and then the bolt go on top. So I think actually I'm going to get some washers, put those on before putting the bolts there. So I found some penny washers, which look to be sort of reasonable, nice ideal size for those. They may be a little bit too big than really what's needed, but unfortunately I don't have any other. Well, the other size I had that would have been suitable was a bit too, I think, sort of the other extreme, a bit too small. So I'm going to opt for these washers. So I think once they're on there with the bolts, it'll be, put some bolts on, it will be okay. So just loosely put those on there for now, and then I'll do the same on this side. Sorry, move the camera. Washer on each, and then just put the nuts on. So like I say, they do supply it to be sort of a 13mm, I would think. Yeah, so there is a 13mm sort of ratchet spanner in there. To be honest with you, it would be far easier with a proper socket on there, so I'm gonna just get a 13mm socket. Probably need a deep socket, or maybe not, to sort of get all the way down there, because it'll be a fair bit of thread, I think, that will be sort of poking out underneath. So I'll do that, get those bolted down, and then we'll start on the other side. Okay, so I've just nipped both of those brackets up, so now we just need to repeat the same on this side. Having said that, now that I've come over, I've literally just thought of a potential mistake that I've just made, a bit of a schoolboy error. Obviously, when you run these in, the bolt is already going to be in there, so it's going to need to go under there. So I don't know, actually I'll be alright. There's enough play there to be able to slide it under. I had this suddenly horrible feeling I was never going to be able to move it over there, and I had to undo that side. So I'll get this side done, and then you can see it's all assembled, and then we'll sort of make some measurements, and then actually sort of nip it up into a place where hopefully it will be sort of a baseline sort of position for it to go onto the car. Right, so that's the roof bars now on there. They are sort of nipped up sort of fairly tight now. Obviously there's no sort of manual or anything you get with the Tentbox, so insulation wise, which is a little bit frustrating. And there's obviously no guidelines to say exactly how tight you should do these. I mean, I've just done it so that the sort of foam you can start to see. I don't know if it's how clearly it will show in there. Just move the camera. But I've just started to do it so you can start seeing the sort of the foam insert that's on the base of that. is starting to sort of be compressed, so at least there's a bit of tension on there. And I've done that sort of the same, sort of roughly the same all the way around. I think once it's on the vehicle, obviously I sort of give it a bit of a shove and a wiggle to see whether there's any movement in it, and it may be that I'll look to sort of tighten these up a bit more once it's sort of on the vehicle anyway. But I didn't want to go sort of doing them so tight so that the bars all start bending and it just looks a bit messy. So the other thing I wanted to mention at the moment, so these little rubber bungs sit in the end of these, pretty sort of straightforward. They're sort of a bit fairly sort of flexible rubber. They're a little bit fiddly to sort of line up initially, but once you've sort of got it in there and given it a bit of a wiggle and a push, they do all sort of go on, and all of the other three I've already done. So yeah, so that's good. I think it's in a position now effectively where it could go on the vehicle. I'm only on my own here, so I'll have to wait until somebody else is around until they can help me with that. So what I will do in the meantime is I'm going to from the actual main cover that you can see over there, I'm going to remove, just come across, I'm going to remove the Velcro bits which I was showing earlier, and remove all those off of there, run them all around the channels on here, put the cover on, and then put the sort of straps over it, and that to sort of just see how the actual cover fits on before it goes on the vehicle. Right, so I've now got these Velcro pieces attached in the channels, and I've, as you can tell, sort of turned it up the way it would be on the car, so the sort of roof rack is essentially on the ground now. I've sort of put the straps back across, but these will need to be undone, and then I'll put the actual cover on, strap it all down, and then see what it looks like, and how easy it is to fit sort of cover when it's in this situation. At the moment, again, there's no sort of instructions that are supplied, so I'm just sort of guessing at this stage. But these strips, I don't know if you can see, so on this side obviously there's no Velcro. On the other side there's the hard sort of part of the Velcro. So I've put that essentially, so when it's in the channel, the hard sort of part of the Velcro is sort of pointing so inside the thing, so that the idea is it will fold back on itself like that, and then the cover will Velcro onto it. The reason why I've done it like that is because it seems the height of the cover is sort of roughly the same as the actual height of the unit there. So if they had intended with that Velcro bit to be on this side and it'd be sort of Velcroed like that as if it was in place, the cover would have seemed to be a lot need to have been a lot longer. So I'm hoping, like I say, it's a bit of a guess to some extent, but I'm hoping that's the right way around of doing it. Okay, so I want to try and put the cover on now. If I can come around here first, what I can show you. So on this side, this is where you've got the actual straps. So there's two sort of small straps here that just seem to sort of hold the side down. And I guess you can do those up on one side before having to lash these over. These sort of center ones are larger. Probably one thing to note, there's a sort of metal buckle on one side, so when it is on the vehicle and you throw it across, just be mindful of your body work. So I'll do those. Okay, I'm not going to be able to hold the camera while putting the cover on, so I'll switch the camera off, put that on, and then start again. So the cover itself goes on pretty easily. One thing just to point out a mistake I made, so I had these smaller ones, sorry the light's not very great there, but these smaller straps on the outer edges, so not the large straps that go all the way across. They do actually have to be kept tightened up, because the actual cover will then go over those like so. So it is, well, it's obviously sort of fits perfectly well. The ladders would normally, I think, sit on the top there, and you do get then, because they sort of flared the outer edges of it, you can see it's sort of a bit baggy there, but then you've got this additional sort of Velcro piece. So I think the idea is obviously you sort of pull one side in, and it's difficult to do with the camera there, but tuck it around. So I'm just going to sort of go around and attach the sort of Velcro at the bottom, which is pretty straightforward when it's in this position. I'm not so convinced it's going to be that easy when it's on, certainly on the pickup. On a smaller car it probably won't be quite so bad, but yeah, I'm sure that's going to be fun, especially if it's raining, to try and get that on. So I'm going to put all the Velcro bits in. It's difficult to do it with holding the camera. Put the straps back across, and then I'll show you some pictures of what it looks like from them, and then I think we're sort of ready really then to sort of offer it up to the vehicle. So the Tentbox is on. I've got to say it is actually pretty epic. So my earlier idea of fitting the roof bars to the tent before actually putting it on the on the vehicle was not the best idea. So I ended up taking them off, putting the roof bars on, and then offering up the Tentbox to it. So I guess if you had a smaller vehicle you might be able to do that, but I'm not particularly tall, and neither was my assistant when helping me put it on there, and basically yeah, it would have just ended in a disaster if we had tried to do it, to be honest. But nevertheless, it's up there. It looks pretty cool. I have had the tent part of it open and had a quick peek around, and I've got to say it is pretty good. The quality of the build, the materials, everything like that looks really good. I do like the skylight. It's pretty dark inside there with all the things closed, which would be good for sort of getting a decent night's kip, especially sort of during the summer when the sort of mornings are quite early, quite light. But the sort of skylight bit that you open up lets in a lot of light, and it is really cool, I think. So yeah, so it's just a case now of actually getting to use it. I think unfortunately I'm probably not going to get a chance for a little while, but I will try and do another little video when I actually do get to use it. So yeah, other than that, despite the small bit of damage I had on it, overall experience at the moment is good. Can't wait to use it. Yeah, it's pretty sick. Thanks. Hope this is of use.